Hi guys, this is Michael Orl of MobileBurn.com, and today I'm going to show you the Huawei Ascend P1. It is one of the prettiest little Android 4.0 devices I've come across in a long time. So I've got a relatively limited amount of time to show you the P1, so I'm going to go through some of the features pretty quickly. You can see right here, got the lock screen with shortcuts on it. And in addition to a 2D view, there's also a 3D view for the shortcuts. And the 3D view is pretty cool. And both the 2D and the 3D view allow you to change the shortcuts that are here, except for the unlock itself, so you could set it to camera, messaging, phone, whatever you wanted. In terms of base specs, this has a TI dual-core Cortex-A9 based processor running at 1.5 gigahertz. 1 gigabyte of RAM and 4 gigs of internal storage. About 2.5 of that is available to the user. We do have a micro SD card on the side here, so you can add up to 32 gigs of additional storage. There's a 4.3-inch display on the P1. It's a QHD resolution, 540 by 960 pixels, a Super AMOLED display. That's why you got the really punchy colors like you see here. Quite nice, quite responsive. The UI in general is very responsive. Let's take a look at the basic hardware. You can see it's a really thin device. Huawei says it's about 7.7 millimeters thick. My calipers show it to be just about 8 exactly. Weighs about 110 grams, which is quite light. A little bit of a bulge here for where the 8 megapixel camera and its dual LED flash reside. A little bump down here at the chin as well. Some antenna work in there. Left hand edge we have volume controls. Up top, the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, micro USB port, and the SIM, it's a full-size SIM slot. On the right-hand edge is the power standby button and the previously mentioned micro SD slot. Nothing too much to see on the bottom except for a microphone pinhole. Has a very nice feel. Now, obviously, it's quite pretty. This is the yellow model. We've seen it in white and a couple other colors as well. I specifically requested yellow since I fell in love with it when I saw it at CES this year. Very solid, and this is, for a Huawei device, you don't really think of it as being a top-end hardware manufacturer yet, but it's really good quality, feels nice and solid. I mean, this is certainly no worse than anything Samsung's ever built, so I mean, Huawei's doing a really good job right here. Some of the other hardware features of note include Gorilla Glass on the front, so it's nice and tough. Also has Pentaband 3G support, so it works on T-Mobile USA, AT&T in the US, and even though it was meant for other international markets like Europe and Asia. So audio quality seems to be pretty decent on the device. I was using it at Google I/O this year. Reception, somewhere around average. It's not great, not bad either. But I did manage to get 3G connections on AT&T and T-Mobile both, and that's something you just don't usually see on a device these days. The 8 megapixel main camera shoots pretty decent photos. They're not fantastic. It's not something like you're going to get out of a Samsung Galaxy S3 or HTC One X, but still pretty good for what I was expecting. Got a 1670 milliamp hour battery inside, and you cannot get to it. It is not user serviceable. You can see there's no pry point for the rear cover or anything like that. The P1S variant, that's a little bit thinner. It's also has a smaller battery, so I think this device is a little bit more practical. It's already quite thin. The Huawei Ascend P1 has a price that's somewhere in the range of $450 to $550. It's not offered officially in the US, so you can get it through importers like maybe Expansys or somebody like that. Let's take a look at the system. You can see a relatively plain Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich, and there's not a lot of people that are going to complain about that. You do see some customizations though. Notice up here at the top there are a series of shortcuts for some quick settings. You can go into the settings though and actually turn those off. Right there, and you can see now it's gone. And just like any ice cream sandwich device, you can individually clear notes by swiping them away or using the clear all button. Let's jump back a bit and go into the about section so we can see exactly which version of Android it's running. It's 4.0.3. Going to take a quick look at the camera application. This is running with the main 8 megapixel camera with its dual LED flash. See, we have tap to focus. There are a number of settings you can get to and special effects, so all quite nicely organized. Can switch to the forward-facing 1.3 megapixel camera, which is primarily useful for cheap self-portraits or video chatting. Can switch to video mode as well and record full 1080p video. You can see there's no tap to focus inside the video application. Let's see if it focuses on my hand. It does. So it has dynamic focus during video recording, which is pretty nice. And you've probably already noticed the capacitive buttons across the bottom instead of the standard ICS type buttons. So you have menu, of course, back button and the home button. You can long press the home to bring up the task switcher, so we'll go into the gallery application that way. And just show you quickly some sample photos we've recorded. This was shot at the Google I/O event. I believe that is Eric Zeman of PhoneScoop right there. You can see it did a pretty nice job even recording some photos at night or in the evening. So lastly, let's take a look at the main menu, and I'll just point out some of the applications that come with the device. I have a lot of things installed myself right now, as you can see here. This gives you an easy way to remove applications, this application installer. And we've also got things like DLNA support. It comes with the old style browser, but you can obviously upgrade to the brand new Chrome browser, which is now officially out of beta. Gmail support, as you can tell, as things just came in for Gmail, and a bunch of other applications. Pretty much everything works just as you would expect. This is very much a stock style Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich device, and so as thus it runs many different applications, and it runs it quite well thanks to the TI's speedy processor. So there you have it. That is my very abridged look at the Huawei Ascend P1 device, also known as the U9200. For MobileBurn.com, I'm Michael Orl. Thanks for watching.